So I got these backpacks uh, sorted out, and I'm gonna try to put silicone in them. So it takes probably for 3 bags, takes probably an hour, or it actually takes like, for the drying process, at least a day or two, and uh, but just the initial putting on the silicone. So these backpacks are finished up. So I've got another one. This one doesn't really feel too different. So some of it feels different, maybe on the harnesses, but yeah, and even the plastic it looks more glossy. But doing the inside and outside with the bucket of silicone is really, uh, interesting, because I've been siliconing stuff without water, and it's wasted pretty much at least probably between 3 and 4 tubes. And then I started thinking maybe I should dilute it with water. And diluting it with water, the layer isn't as durable and things like that. And hopefully I didn't miss any spots, but if I did, and also using wood lacquer, or uh, weatherproof paint and things adds a different layer. But you know, using the pure silicone is okay, and probably lacquer, but the weatherproof paint might start chipping off. Have to always, or they have heat lamps and all types of um, factors, or just you know things. So I usually put it on this side. If I had something where the bucket would be more near, like another shelf, and just apply, or just have the everything. I can put the bucket like right here when I do my next things. So, but this tray actually slides a little bit, but mostly can't really tell any difference, really. But there's silicone basically in some, within the pockets and things, in some of the coating that. Um, so, all right, so I mainly got the back part, and then just like maybe opening the bag and making sure everything, and standing it up. This is kind of like how the inside gets done. I think I should really have more support for this part. It just seems, yeah. So, and stuff is dripping from up top, stuff like that, and any extra excess, I try to make sure I, you know. So yeah, just this kind of side towards me, but all that stuff back there, I could touch up everything. So I basically have my flash off, but hopefully, somehow I'm going to like have some cleaner bags. Hopefully this starts to look cleaner once everything dries up in like a day or two. I start feeling better just because I got through all this stuff, and then I have a nice backpack, I guess. All right, so I hung that up. It has a little clip on it, and hopefully everything on the on that bag. And then I was able to wipe up a little bit. I'm thinking how things are going. I'm gonna have to keep this, or even as it is, just to keep wiping it up and stuff, and then use this on the third batch. Another way, finish up as much as I can with these harnesses, and this is gonna try to be silicone, water-based silicone. I've been using, and basically like it soaks in water. There's actually a lot of spots that, not a lot, but there's at least 2 or 3 spots that are starting to rip up because there's just you know, it's just it's really lightweight and things. Might have a couple other backpacks, but it's basically going to get this as just you know, it's just basically like any other backpack. It starts to get really messed up and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna try to just turn this around a few times here and there, and then finish up with this backpack. All right, so I got the whole back, everything on the back, I'm hoping, and I just held it upright. I just finished up this side. Inside of this other side is small pocket and stuff. Should kind of zip up. Holding it like this instead of messing up the front and back, you know, just the bottom portion of the bag is trying to stop. So, and then this bag should be finished up. I'll be right back. Alright, so I got another separate coat hanger part. And these bags aren't as sticky as pure silicone, so things like that. And you know, when things dry up, and I'm going to actually use another backpack, like right there. I'm going to coat another backpack. I could do this one, this large frame, but I think I'm going to do this one. It's pretty much a tactical backpack. The thing is, I guess I can try to fill in anything while I'm here, and then it's just going to give me an excuse so that I don't have to do both sides. But yeah, just, and also might be a little more comfortable working. It's going to be a lot of, you know, just painstaking stuff, but 10 or 20 minutes later, I'll probably have something that might mostly filled up with just random plastics that I had in this bag, and I've got a few threads to, I want to try to use a lighter. I've been dry. You know, just every little item here and there, you know, doing an effective job. Really do. Also helps. It's been a while weatherproofing and doing stuff, and I actually only recently like saw other YouTubers making other weatherproofing, and then they move on to the next thing. But you know, I'm kind of getting lucky with finding some of the products here and there, or then stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the outside, and once that dries, then try to lean it up against the back, clean up the mess, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, so I did this side of the bottom. There's gonna be two sides to this and that, but I flipped it over this time as and then I'm gonna have to flip. I want to do all the pockets, the main thing, and just covering up as much as I can. Probably gonna do the side pockets once I flip. Try to flip, or you know, just depends how the zippers are gonna open, or maybe just flip it and start working, finishing up. And I'll talk to you guys later. And yeah, with all these harnesses, things like that, I do like try to. I mean, that's gonna be the last portion, but I try to move the buckle so you know, just basically soak in the epoxy or whatnot, silicone, and then move the buckle so that everything, and then coat everything. But I think next is going to be in these pockets. So it may not seem like it's doing anything and stuff like that, but it actually does from the compared to the dry stuff. And when I apply the silicone, so I'm just zipping parts of like just the moisture starts to soak in, and then as things start to build up inside the fibers, it starts to you know, start to put in more of the build-up stuff, and then starts to weather resistant. So that's most of that. One of the last things I could kind of figure out which side is going to be the very last side. So you know, when you know, what kind of coating, whatever's inside. There might be zippers on the inside and things, or other pockets. So I coat all that stuff just to give it, just to let the fluid soak in, and then give it a little bit more of a bond and stuff. So I guess it's all soaked into inside of the pockets. It's not going to be as dynamic if I was really trying to take care of stuff, or even with lacquer thinner on this. It's just a real tough material, but and I don't want to try to like uh, for some reason and also uh, basically it's just it's going to be a little mess on the inside and then stuff like that when I'm finished. But I could have used all types of different instead of silicone, you know, I could use lacquer thinner. I could have used you know, pure silicone, all types of different stuff. But weatherproof. On this side, get under the flaps where the zippers are. That's going to be really good. And then fold that back down, stuff like that. So I'm going to be working on this side, and yeah, just turning this stuff around and letting everything drain. I even got inside of all these little loops. Trying not to do too much on the Velcro, but I can always try to scrape off. You know, you might as well do them, just because one, if you don't do it, then decide to do it, it just starts to take a little longer time. But yeah, I guess I'm not going to check inside that pocket. It's just going to have to be that way. So yeah, just having to finish up side by side, and then finally the last back piece. So yeah, I got a lot over one side, or just got a lot of the harness. Can see, got all this stuff underneath the loops and stuff. So now I'm gonna just kind of shift over, and some of the back of, so I'm gonna kind of shift over to this side, and all the while all this stuff the mess is getting used up from the underneath parts, things like that. And then I've got a spare backpack to wipe up any excess. The harness, it doesn't. The thing is, yeah, this, I wasn't expecting to do this bag and things, but sometimes people go for that stuff, or there's other, you know, situations people have, you know, just a lot of protection from any other, you know, issues with not being weather coated like this. It's just a bummer that this is actually, I was doing a few shoelaces at first, but this should have been, you know, the ultimate thing with all most of my bags and weatherproofing stuff. Right back. So yeah, got quite a bit on this one, hopefully. Might have missed a few loops or a loop. I have all this stuff on the platter. And also, like, unbuckling these, and I'll just know what I worked on. But the last part is kind of a little bit in this middle section. I did some of this top already. But getting this situated with some good stuff. So yeah, just brushing on this really fluid or liquid stuff. It starts to kind of get everywhere, basically, where I'm brushing on. And so everything that I could do on the outside is finished up. I'm going to put this brush back in the plastic bag the next day, you know, and, you know, hopefully things, you know, with the older bags, it did saturate through, and then it was such a large backpack. It's going to keep dripping until, you know, are the ones that are going to really show a lot of stuff.